Season 2.
Welcome to Rage Against the Mainstream, your full spectrum source for all things music, insight, and opinion. Welcome back for Season 2. My name is Bill, and I'm joined here today with Connor and Steve.
Yo.
Today is December 23rd, 2019. Once again, we'd like to thank you all for coming back and listening. We took a break so we could be better for you.
This is true.
Better, stronger, faster.
Have you guys encountered anything new or interesting since Halloween?
Hype on that Rage reunion.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. If they don't do any dates out here, I'll probably have to make a trek out there.
Yeah, that I really hope it's super successful. So then they got to come this way.
I keep hearing like rumors that there's more dates coming.
They got
like,
to,
leaked,
dude.
Like,
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
European dates and
I'd
stuff.
be grateful for like a one of those like, you know, amphitheaters that just like a lawn ticket to go see Rage would be fucking awesome.
Reopen the Trocadero for
Anything to
one night.
see
Awesome.
Rage.
Yeah.
Anything to see Rage would be great.
You imagine that they do reopen the Troc at
Yeah.
CBGB just for one night
Right.
only. Yeah. All right, Rage is back. We'll be back too.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that's the thing. I think with like the hype around Rage Against the Machine, and now with the newfound hype of Rage Against the Mainstream, you know, kind of propelling this whole thing.
It's quite coincidental, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
Really weird.
We're on our rise up. They're coming back up. It's
Yeah, we're
almost
not
like,
taking any credit for this, but the coincidence is definitely prominent, to say the least.
Tom, Zach, Tim. You know, if you guys want to throw some tickets,
Whatever.
You know.
We would be there.
Yeah.
You guys could go out there and just fart on your guitars, and we would still give an amazing review.
Oh my god,
We
yeah.
wouldn't even give a fuck.
Like yo, that last Rage Against the Machine show, that shit was
Like
tight.
we're
It's
And
coming
the-
back around again.
yeah, we're within we're less than 100 feet from Rage. This is cool.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
We're breathing really the same air.
Wouldn't it be some shit though if they got on, me and Connor were talking about this, if there was like an interview and Tom Morello was like, I really don't like this whole Rage Against the Mainstream
I don't even
shit.
care. I don't even care. I mean, I would feel upset that like a beloved artist doesn't like it, but the fact they even noticed,
Yeah, that'd be
I feel
something.
accomplished. Fuck it.
What about you, Steve?
So, yeah, last month, I mean, in October, I did say I was going to see Tool November 16th. Recently saw the Misfits as well, again in December 14th, but I'm going to go back to that Tool show on November 16th. I saw in Newark, and debatably probably one of the best shows I've ever been to.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the best viewing of a show I've ever been to because my seats were not all great, but dude, I just imagine what it would have been like to see Pink Floyd on the Dark Side of the Moon tour in their prime with like the effects and everything that people would experience like in the 70s, like how fucking awesome that would have been.
Oh hell
Yeah,
yeah.
people act like Tool is kind of like, and granted, I'm not the biggest Tool fan at all,
Yeah.
but like people act like Tool's like maybe not washed up, but there's definitely like a
Dude.
mentality that they're like old and they are
Yeah.
probably past their prime.
But here's the
they
thing.
could be
But, like,
if this
back
is
in the
past their
day-
prime, shit.
yeah,
Back
but-
in the day, you gave bands time to stretch out their careers and hash things out.
Exactly.
Like, like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, these bands had long careers.
Well, you think of the
know?
evolution of bands. I mean, you get to a point where you start making the same record and then you try to change and people don't fucking like it. Tool, like with the Undertow era, the Opiate era, then they progressed into Enema, then they went to Lateralis, 10,000 Days. The cool thing about the Fear Inoculum album is that you got to notice a lot of those songs were catered to how like Maynard would have sung them live because he didn't try to do too much on an audio recording where he had the time to just do it there in that moment as opposed to having to perform that consistently. Because like think about Tom Araya when he has to do that scream for Angel of Death.
Yeah.
Can't fucking do it. And it's like not to say like he can't do it, it's just he's older. So all the songs were catered. They were more instrumental, they were slower tone vocals, they were like more of like a, you know, a singing voice as opposed to that raspy or yelling voice. And dude, I'm telling you, just the show itself, the visuals, the instrumental work, Danny Carey is, I'm pretty sure, is a robot. The guy is like sounds like a fucking drum machine. It's like unbelievable watching him behind that kit.
Well, it's like what we talk about all the time, like the longevity of this. Like, how long can you do this at the
these
level
guys
that
are
it
in
requires?
Their 60s, dude.
Correction, they're in their 50s. Maynard's 55. I know because he was born in the same week as me. And the drummer is 60. Or no, he's 58. He was born in 61. I know that because he was born the year between my parents.
Public service announcement, ladies and gentlemen. Wikipedia is an excellent source. Anyway, but still at that age,
Debatable
dude,
politically.
very true. So you figure though, in their mid 50s, I mean, like I said, like
Mid to late.
bro, I'm like 27 years old, and I gonna be 28 in a couple of days, and
You work, you go to school, you do a podcast that requires heavy lifting.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
Serious
It's like-
manual labor.
but it's crazy. Like I have a
Mental
tough time getting
exhaustion.
off the fucking couch, dude. Like I have a tough time just like if I don't want to move, I'll just not eat because I can't make it to the fridge sometimes. But these guys are like on tour.
They
The
live
way-
lives of luxury that me and you can only dream about.
Doesn't matter, dude. They're
Yeah.
still putting out music that's actually worth wanting to fucking pay money for.
Speaking,
if your mind was as at peace as those in the bourgeoisie, you would be able to make fine music as well.
This is a possibility, but hey, that take years and
But
years
anyway,
of practice to get to
speaking
that
of
point
fine music and paying money to see it, I actually sent you in a text message. Death Clock played their first show in 5 years.
Yes.
In November.
Yes.
Pretty much they played Adult Swim Fest, and Tyler the Creator and shit like that was on the bill, and Death Clock played I think it was like a 45-minute set, and they put out 2 new songs. The set list was obviously the Death theme, then Briefcase Full of Guts, Birthday Death Day, Awaken, Bloodlines, The Gears, which I believe is a new song, Black Fire Upon Us, which is also a new song, Death Support, the Duncan Hills Coffee jingle, Impeach God, which was their first time ever playing it live, along with Comet song, Andromeda, my personal favorite off Death album 3, I Ejaculate Fire, The Duel, Mermaider, and they closed the show with Thunder Horse.
Of course.
And the way I'm seeing this is, if they're playing Adult Swim Fest, that means that Adult Swim as a corporation has kind of accepted the whole Death Clock and Metalocalypse thing, and there might be another season in the works. And plus, why would there be new songs from a fictional band when Brendan Small is already doing Galacticon, which is where he does all of his original music? Why would Death Clock continue to put out new music if there isn't something in the works already? You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, the great thing about
or a movie or something.
I think the great thing about like personality bands like that, where it was evolved from a television show, that's like perfect marketing.
Yeah.
You go out there, you play a show as this band, and people like that which would be rare if you know of the band, but I'm saying like you may have gone to this thing and not even known who they were, and then you hear this band. If you're into metal, you're like, whoa, this fucking is cool, and then you find, whoa, that was a TV show, and then you find out they release a new season.
Yeah.
Now you're going back and you're rewatching it to see what the fuck is up.
For all the listeners here,
Yeah.
all
Wait.
the seasons are available on Adult Swim.
Do you guys actually listen to Death Clock on your own time though?
Yeah.
Not when you're just watching the show?
I don't listen to
I
it
do.
like I don't listen to it like I would listen to like most of my death metal bands, but like when they put out new music, I fucking listen to it.
I
Okay.
enjoy their music like all the time.
And I don't enjoy it as like being a joke band. I actually like it's actually talented.
See, yeah,
music.
to me they were always just kind of like the metal Tenacious D or something.
But that's what it is. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. You're telling me you never just listened to Tenacious D? You never popped in fucking the self-title?
Not really by myself. If I'm like in the car with someone and like
Yeah.
you want to relive it or whatever, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, that's the
fun.
whole
It's like
point.
a shared experience.
That's what I'm saying. I don't
It's
listen
funny.
to them as the same reason. Like I said, I would go listen to like Morbid Angel, like another death metal band. I don't put them in like that same type of category. But I've listened to Tenacious D just
Yeah.
to listen to them because they're fun, they're goofy.
There's
and
something I
it's
wanted to
just-
tell you too. I looked it up. Remember you were saying about Soundgarden doing a music video for Black Rain, and it was like a Metalocalypse type thing.
Yeah,
Brendan Small, the creator of
Yeah,
Metalocalypse,
he
was the
did that.
director
Yeah.
for that music video.
that's cool.
Yeah, when I was doing a little bit of research on Brendan Small, I
I
was like,
could
oh
see-
shit, he directed that music video.
I could see Kim Thale from Soundgarden like in Metalocalypse.
Kim Thale was he was a guest
He was a
guest
guest
voiced on the
Okay,
show. Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, there you
But-
go.
dude, there's so many like metal people and like actual like good ass people that were on that show. Like Mark Hamill did a lot of voices for that show.
I prefer Hayden Christensen. No, I'm just kidding.
Mark Hamill has been on that show multiple times. Kirk Hammett's been on the show multiple times. Michael Lamott from Arch Enemy, he's been on the show.
Who played Jar Jar? No.
He's another good one.
He's another good one. Nah, I like Mark Hamill's work in Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back when he performed as the cock knocker.
The cock knocker, yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Yep.
I also enjoyed his work in the new Child's Play 2019 remake.
He was in that?
He was the voice of
He was
Chucky.
the voice of Chucky.
Mark Hamill.
Mark
Yeah.
Hamill was the voice of Chucky.
Fucking Luke Skyboy.
On this day in music history,
1940, Jorma Kaukonen, guitarist from Jefferson Airplane and Hot Tuna, is born. My dad's a big fan of theirs.
Big old jet airliner. That's
Which one?
Jefferson Airplane, right?
What? That's
don't
fucking
believe
Steve
so.
Miller Band.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I guess I heard like
I was
airline.
like-
Dude,
Wait.
Jefferson Airplane is
White Rabbit, Somebody to Love.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
you
Yeah.
want somebody to
Jim Carrey, the cable guy.
Dude,
That's
think
the
about
best.
Fear and Loathing. He's like when White
Yeah,
Rabbit
it's
Pete
basically
dropped
the same
the fucking,
thing. Yeah, they kind
Yeah.
of ripped it off from Cable Guy.
I know. That's totally did.
Yeah. So what do we think about Jefferson Airplane?
Love him.
Yeah.
I like Jefferson
Yeah,
Airplane.
huge
Yeah.
fan.
I don't know any Hot Tuna.
I can't say I do
I've
either.
heard of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they had like one album or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, if any of our viewers really get down with Hot Tuna, send us a couple key tracks.
Not gonna lie, I wouldn't eat hot tuna though.
No.
No.
Yeah, like
I don't know how people eat
totally
tuna melts and shit.
irrelevant. yeah, nah. Especially from a diner.
Nah, not my bag.
But anyway, in 1945, in Inagado de Vida, Ron Bushy, drummer of Iron Butterfly, is born.
In a garden de vida. Yeah, I know that song.
Yeah.
You know,
I was
I
never a
only
giant
know
Iron
that song
Butterflies
because
fan.
of The Simpsons.
No, I know that song because Ted Nugent claims that he doesn't do drugs, but yet this was his influence into playing music.
Really?
Yes,
Iron Butterfly?
that
was
particular
Ted
song.
Nugent's influence? Wow.
1943, back it up 2 years. Harry Shearer, who played Derek Smalls from the movie Spinal Tap, is born. Is he the main dude?
No, he's a bass player.
Mhm.
Okay.
He's also voice actor for The Simpsons.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh. I just know that because I remember seeing his name a million times at the end
Yeah.
of The Simpsons. But yeah. 1958, Dave Merry, guitarist from Iron Maiden, is born. Hate to say it, but another band I wasn't really ever
Which
a big
is
fan
crazy,
of.
man.
I
Dave-
never super got into them, dude, honestly. I mean,
Nah.
like, there's a couple key songs where I don't mind.
Robert
Iron Maiden?
Plant is like as high as I need to go with like male vocals. I feel like anything beyond
Yeah,
like the
Bruce
highest
Dickinson
of
does
Robert
get really
But this is
high,
the
dude.
thing,
is,
though.
like,
This is why
excessive to me.
I think Iron Maiden is like a hit or miss with a lot of people when it comes to like the Bruce Dickinson scene because of his like operatic style.
Yeah.
Not
So it's a
fan.
huge turnoff. Like for instance, there's a lot of huge Iron Maiden songs that I'm not a fan of. Like Run to the Hills, it's a great song on paper. It's
But you can
iconic,
take
but
it
it's
or
like
leave it.
I,
Yeah.
it's real. I would never put that on.
No.
There's certain songs I skip on Number of the
See,
Beast
yeah,
because
I
it's
never
just
really-
too.
I like
dug into
Aces
them.
High. Aces High is good.
Aces High is good. 2 Minutes to Midnight's
Yeah.
pretty good. Flash of the but dude, Killers and the self-title with Paul Di'Anno.
Yeah.
That's like a whole different sound to Iron Maiden. That was just like he had that.
Was it
raspy, like,
actually heavy?
deeper- Oh yeah, dude. Go listen to if you
Yeah.
listen to the song Killers, Murders in the Rue Morgue. Those songs like Paul Di'Anno Maiden, dude. It had his vocals was more like aggressive, like punk, but it still had like that Iron Maiden like epic metal theme behind it.
Yeah.
It was so like Killers. is
Why
my
they get
favorite
rid of the
album.
good guy?
Well,
He left, didn't he?
No, they kicked him out. He was a huge cokehead.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was missing
boo-hoo.
practice.
It wasn't like he was
yeah.
on heroin.
I know, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but you can't have an aggressive individual on cocaine constantly showing up, scaring people. It doesn't work out.
No, because
Yeah.
that's never worked for any other bands before, ever.
No, I mean, never really.
Yeah, I guess they just have tons of money too. So
Yeah, we can
Can
afford
get
to get
out
rid
of
this
control.
guy. Yeah, we can
Well-
get Bruce Dickinson and kind of go off the charts.
Well, I mean, honestly, I mean, they did hit their pinnacle like in like their money making capabilities with Bruce Dickinson.
Of course, because it was a
Definitely.
whole different scene. It was something like more appealing as opposed. But dude, Killers was a big album in the new wave of British heavy metal, and then Dickinson came. Number of the Beast, obviously, just
We have to remember too, around that time with like Killers and shit like that, like the other like new wave of British heavy metal bands was like Judas Priest. I mean,
Venom
in my
was coming
opinion,
over too.
British
wasn't
Steel.
like that heavy. And then like you
Great
had Def Leppard's like High and Dry.
It's a good album.
Yeah. And, or what
deal with
was
that.
the one
another thing coming.
the one Def Leppard
Screaming for
album,
Vengeance.
the cover's got a truck on it. It's like in this like space or some shit.
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about though, right?
Not Pyromania, is it?
No.
I don't know.
Those are the
I don't
80s
know.
ones.
Yeah, no.
It's like 77 or 79 this album came out. It was like something trucking in space. I'm not sure what it was, but it was something along those lines. And that album was actually pretty fucking good too.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on.
1959. Chuck Berry was arrested for transporting a minor across the state line for an immoral purpose.
What the fuck does
It
that mean?
Turns out
dude?
she was a 15-year-old prostitute,
Yeah.
God
and he
damn it,
was
Chuck.
unaware at the time. And when he crossed state lines, they were like,
God damn it, Chuck.
What?
Something
you're,
tells me.
you're a rock star.
hang around with 15-year-old.
Yeah. You don't. Yeah. You just were disappointed with the girls to
What
pick
did-
from
but-
basically at
Yeah.
your show that you played probably that night.
But what
and
did-
you
what-
decided you needed a girl for the night.
What did Chuck Berry even do in rock and roll history?
Are you shitting me?
Fucking Johnny Be Good, bro.
Yeah.
No, Marty McFly wrote that song.
Nah, man.
Hey, Chuck.
That's just a
Chuck,
movie.
this is your cousin Marvin.
I
You
don't know
not
about
a true
that,
story.
man.
Marvin Berry. You know that new sound you've been looking for? Well, listen to this. Dude, it's like my favorite fucking part of that movie.
You kids will love this when you're older.
What isn't realized often about that guitar performance by Michael J. Fox is that he runs through all of the like rock genres up until that time.
Yeah.
Like he goes from like Chuck Berry style rock and roll
to Eddie
like
Van Halen.
to like surf to like the Beatles type shit.
That's
to,
cool,
like,
yeah.
Metal and then like
Yeah.
heavier stuff. Yeah.
That's cool.
Like he goes to like a Slade type riff or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
Then he does
into
tapping
and then
at
he
the
goes
end.
into like
Yeah.
Van Halen type shit. Yeah.
So, I mean, technically, Marty McFly
Is responsible for
is
all things rock and
responsible
roll
for
and metal.
everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
Poor guy's got what?
You may have hated this.
that was
movie.
quite the
Kids will love it.
performance.
He's got Parkinson's now, right?
Oh, yeah. Then he was dancing around like Angus Young, too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he was
doing the
fine.
Angus
Young
he
thing.
like kicked over the amp and stuff.
Yeah.
These 50s kids were like,
He was
He
like
did the windmill, like fucking Pete Townsend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
my
Did he
favorite
do the
part.
slide, too?
No, he didn't use a slide. Oh, wait. Yeah. He
Yeah.
slid
Yeah,
across
yeah.
the knees
Yeah.
on his. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Wow.
favorite part is at the end he's just like, I guess you guys weren't ready for that yet.
He's like, you kids will love
but
this
your
when you're
kids are
older."
gonna love it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Generation gap in full effect.
Funny enough, little known fact, this recording that they used like in the movie, that's not Michael J. Fox singing. If you get the
Really?
if you get the Back to the Future album, it doesn't say vocals Michael J. Fox or even guitar Michael J. Fox. It's some guy that is like his voice is like similar to what Michael J. Fox
See,
could have been.
I always knew that Michael J. Fox played guitar and had music and shit, so I always assumed it was him, but that's
Yeah.
super disappointing. 1964, Eddie Vedder, singer of Pearl Jam, is born.
Even flow.
Favorite Pearl Jam album
10.
Versus in Vitology.
versus
Mhm.
versus mine.
I like 10 a lot, but
Mhm.
it's just burned out for me. I don't
See,
know.
I think that's the
Yeah.
thing. I don't think it'll ever get burned out. So mine, like Vitology, I think is like their sound more so because when they evolved, they came like more slower, more like poppier sound. You know what I mean? Because you
Mhm.
could start to see those tendencies. But dude, Versus is like the perfect one. And
Yeah,
the 10
Versus is like fire in a bottle.
Yeah, 10's really
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
good though, man.
10 is like them opening up for the first time. Versus is like them at the peak of their powers, and then Vitology is them almost still at the peak of their powers, going in like a weird direction that
Well,
most
what was
bands
the album that
wouldn't
you
go down.
recommended that one time?
Probably Vitology.
No.
No code.
Was that it?
No, self-titled.
Oh yeah, the self-title's
self-title,
good.
yeah.
I'll stick up for that album.
No,
yeah.
no. The self-title is with the avocado on it.
Mm.
No,
Yeah.
you mentioned another one. It's a weird.
Oh,
avocado.
Riot Act. That's right. Yeah,
Riot Act.
that's from 2002.
Yeah, I listened to that. I
Yeah.
was it's all right.
Yeah, no,
It's good.
not-
It's just it's
yeah,
just,
there's good. There's really good songs on it,
Yeah,
but the whole album, it's like
Yeah, I
as
think
a-
it was-
on
it's
the
funny.
whole.
yeah.
But if you don't listen, I don't know. See, I was listening to that album when I was like 12.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like a bit nostalgic, but like you don't listen to it for 10 years, then you go back to it and you're like, oh shit, this was cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think it's funny too because I was listening to it and there was like 2 tracks I picked out, and I think those were the 2 tracks that you actually recommended that I didn't realize you
like
did. So I was like,
Can't Keep and
Yeah.
Save You.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I Am Mine. Yeah.
Mhm.
There's some gems on there.
I think that's the one you recommended was I Am Mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good song. What's your favorite Pearl? You said 10?
10.
Okay.
Yeah, Versus is definitely got to be mine.
Once is probably my standout track from 10.
Who's you guys' favorite member from Pearl Jam?
Stone Gossard.
Yeah.
Stone Gossard? I'm going to go Matt Cameron.
Yeah.
Just because he was in Soundgarden.
Yeah, because dude, he was everywhere. He was like the journeyman drummer of that entire grunge scene.
Yeah,
dude.
right?
He's
It's
great,
crazy though. Like Matt Cameron's been in fucking Pearl Jam longer than his total time in Soundgarden.
I
now.
know.
Yeah.
Like
Matt
he's
Cameron's
been in
just-
Pearl Jam for 21 years, I think.
Matt Cameron is like the
Yeah.
Dave Lombardo of the grunge scene. Like he just plays with all these big acts. Like Lombardo was with Suicidal, The Misfits, Slayer. He gets all these big acts for their big shows, big time albums. But yeah, man.
He
Yeah,
didn't
Matt
get down
Cameron's
with
just
Alice
it.
in Chains and Nirvana ever.
Well, he didn't have
Nah.
much of an opportunity to get in the door. I mean, I don't think Dave Grohl was really.
He was
going
busy when
anywhere.
Nirvana was doing this shit.
Yeah.
And Alice in Chains have always had their guy.
Yeah. Sean Kinney
I
never
wonder what
left.
Bleach would have sounded like if Matt Cameron was there before Dave Grohl and Matt Cameron recorded with Bleach.
It would have been like,
They would never have moved on. I don't think they would have even got Dave Grohl at that point.
no. But it would have been like,
It wouldn't have sounded the same because
Nah,
Dave Grohl's a
you
power
can't-
hitter. Matt Cameron is
No,
more
no,
of
I'm
a
talking about
technical
Bleach.
player.
You take the drummer out from
Oh.
Bleach.
yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. Is
Because
that,
Matt Cameron would have done some insane shit, but
Some
it
sa-
probably
wouldn't have sounded right.
probably would have turned Kurt Cobain into like some crazy better musician, and Nirvana would have just been like way
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, this is too much, Kurt. It's not what
Yeah.
I was hoping for.
he's like, dude, I just really wanted to kick back in like a simple punk band or something, and Kurt's like, no, dude, you've opened my eyes.
Yeah.
Like, I can't go back now.
more.
Yeah.
And then they go out and record 46 and 2, and they become the new Tool.
No.
Possibly.
Never.
Move on.
All right, maybe shellac. Also, 1964, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys suffered a nervous breakdown on a flight from Los Angeles to Houston. The event led Wilson to stop touring with the group. 1964, the Beach Boys made their first appearance on Shindig. The show had been taped on December 14th, so this must have been like right after that.
yeah.
Huh. I didn't realize they stopped touring that fucking early. How long did they tour? Like 3 weeks? Like 1964, they stopped?
Yeah. Well, when they come back in the 80s?
Nah,
At that point?
this is before Pet Sounds and all that shit.
Oh, shit.
So they stopped touring before the Beatles. The Beatles probably got it from them. They're probably like, the fucking Beach Boys don't want to tour? We're not going to tour. Fuck you, EMI.
I'd like to read more
Parlophone,
into that. Like, how
dicks.
bad is your nervous breakdown where you just completely stop touring?
It's like that
Yeah.
meme where it's like the last dude's like, you're getting paid? The
Yeah.
Beatles, it's like the Beach Boys are like, we're not, Beatles are like,
We're
we're
only getting
killing
paid-
ourselves
yeah.
playing 600 shows a year. Beach Boys, we're not going to tour anymore. You guys aren't playing any shows?
Yeah.
Like, fucking, hopefully that translates in the broadcast. You have to be big on meme culture for that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, 1966, the final show of BBC TV's Ready, Steady, Go was aired with The Who as a special guest. I wonder if that was when they like blew up the drum set and all that.
1966.
Oh, that might have been.
It might have been.
Yeah, because Keith Moon was still in at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, for those who don't know, the Who once bombed their drum set on TV.
Bombed is an understatement. That motherfucker blew up.
Yeah, I think Keith Moon lost hearing in one of his ears after that.
Yeah.
1972, John Lennon's film Imagine premiered on national TV. I have that on VHS.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. That's all right. He just basically walk around the fucking house playing piano and shit. You ever see that, Steve? The Imagine movie?
The John Lennon. Yeah. Yeah, I seen it.
He's like fucking wearing the suit and shit.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Look at all the people.
1974, George Harrison released a holiday single Ding dong in the U.S. Another gem from the Beatle group gang here. Ding dong.
I don't know if I ever heard this song.
You never heard Ding Dong Ding Dong?
Dude, come on. What kind of music fan are you?
Jesus Christ.
I was going to say, out of all the fucking Beatles shit I've heard, I've never heard Ding Dong
Dude.
Ding Dong.
It's comparable to Let It Be, dude. Like, it is up there in the Beatles culture.
It's permanently in their lexicon.
Yeah.
We'll leave that one in 1974. 1977, Cat Stevens converted to Islam. He later changed his name to Yusuf Islam.
Huh.
I forget what Cat Stevens song I like, but
There was the one in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 that was really good.
it's not that important.
God damn it. I forget the song, but it was a very, very good song.
My mom likes Cat Stevens.
I don't mind Cat Stevens. I'm not going to actively go out and listen to his music, but if it's on, I won't turn it off.
Yeah, he has a good voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a unique voice, too.
Yeah.
It's like a better Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Better Dylan.
A better Dylan.
Yeah. Bob Dylan gets a little cranky.
That's what I'm saying. It's not
sometimes,
to say a better Dylan. That's kind of like
he's his own man.
he's like better than average. I mean, because Bob Dylan was like Bruce
Average.
Springsteen.
No,
It was like the voice was like, come on, dude. But
Compare him to Springsteen?
Bruce Springsteen's voice wasn't all fucking great.
No, I'm not going to say it was great, but I don't think I think Bruce Springsteen is probably like the beginning of like standard.
You have to understand it's like a cultural thing because again, Bob Dylan's music was just in the right place at the right time. And what
Yeah.
he was doing, like that folk aesthetic with his rock, I mean, his voice, he got away with it because the music was just such a it was a sound that nobody was really doing, and it
I
was
feel like
appealing.
Bruce Springsteen was like, what if Bob Dylan and Pete Seeger had a baby?
Yeah, and just really were like American, like just let's
Yeah.
be super American.
Well, that's the thing too. If you think about it,
He started that like grungy shit.
American dream.
well, if you want to go into voices and shit, like where do you rank Ozzy Osbourne then?
Ozzy Osbourne's in a total like. I wouldn't put him up there with like a Freddie Mercury or like a Jim Morrison that was really going out there with like that real.
Yeah, but
tone.
how would you compare like Ozzy Osbourne to like Bruce Springsteen?
He's
I couldn't compare them because Ozzy Osbourne is my opinion. If I had to choose a vocalist for a band,
Mhm.
regardless of what the sound was, I would choose Ozzy.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if Bruce Springsteen is the standard, let's say, quote unquote standard,
Okay.
is Ozzy below or above that?
Above.
Way above?
Yeah, I think
more
Bruce
unique.
Springsteen is like
Okay.
in the middle where he doesn't take chances.
Well, because they've gone on record, Black Sabbath members and Ozzy himself, and they have said that Ozzy is not a great singer.
Agree.
but
And I'm sure they would
that's like
say
how
that.
people say Kurt Cobain's not a good guitar player. He does his own fucking thing. And
Put
it's
it this
not
way, man.
what people
Think
want
about
it to be
Megadeth.
sometimes.
You don't
Okay.
think at any point that those band members could come to the consensus like maybe we should get a new fucking vocalist? They just kept pumping out album after album, watching Dave Mustaine up there.
Honestly,
I got great respect for the man, but
I do
hey,
believe Dave Mustaine's vocals to be the weak point in all Megadeth.
dude, I
releases.
seriously think about a lot of their songs had they been made with like a vocalist like Joey Belladonna from fucking
Oh, they need
Anthrax. Oh
auto-tune.
my god, dude! It's a shame because he's just such a phenomenal musician. It's just like, dude, don't force yourself to go out there and do something you're not. You don't have to constantly try to be better than James. You know, it's just not.
All right, bringing it back to 1974. George Harrison in this Ding Dong Ding. No, I'm just kidding. 1991, James Brown sued the producers of the movie The Commitments. Brown claimed that one of the characters too closely resembled him, and he lost the case.
Boo.
Never heard of that movie.
I
so.
should go sue Jack Black because everything he does, he looks like me.
In the
True.
long run,
Likeness.
James Brown won that shit because I ain't never heard of this Commitment shit.
Negative.
No, I
Never
never
heard
heard of it either. Music news. Today in music news, December 23rd, 2019, Blackfield Brides have announced they have a new bassist and also a pair of new EPs. In November, the band revealed that they had mutually agreed to part ways with bassist Ashley Purdy, who had been playing with the American rock band since 2009. Last year, Purdy appeared on an episode of Another Effin' Podcast where he spoke of the band's planned live shows. We started Warped Tour in Pomona, California, and we're going to 8 dates through the Southern California area, and that's where you're going to see Blackfield Brides for the last time ever in your entire lives. He added, so you better fucking go, because that's going to be it. He later added, you better see us before you don't see us.
Do you like Blackfield Brides?
I like their older music.
Do you like them, Steve?
No.
Yeah, I've never heard of them.
They were like they were in the beginning of that whole emo thing. Like
They're your like typical Warped Tour band.
Yeah,
quintessential Warped Tour.
They were
You'll see
like
them on a bill like
extremely not as good Hawthorne Heights.
Yeah, they were like.
See, Hawthorne Heights has a couple songs I can get down with.
Like you remember our high school.
Okay.
Yeah, you remember some of those individuals.
Yeah.
There.
It says here the band have now announced a new bassist, Lonnie Eagleton. Eagleton posted to Twitter, thrilled to announce that I am joining Blackfield Brides as their new bassist. Having been a long time dedicated fan of the band, I could not be more grateful for this opportunity to be a part of this new era. Before I had any affiliation with the members, I used to fantasize about playing in this band, playing the music, wearing the makeup and stage outfits. So for that to now become my reality is completely surreal. It was only a couple years ago that I was standing in the audience at their concerts, singing along, trying to catch guitar picks. To now see myself in the videos and hear myself on the recordings is a feeling I can't even begin to explain. I look forward to the new beginnings as the newest member of Blackfield Brides.
Sounds like a movie.
Yeah. Man, if it were to be a movie, it would probably have like a lower A-list actor. Kanye West announced an opera.
Whoa. Can't say I'm surprised, honestly.
Just when you thought shit with him couldn't get any fucking wilder. Last week, Kanye tweeted announcing a performance of Nebuchadnezzar, a Kanye West opera, at the Hollywood Bowl on November 24th. Little is known about the opera's content other than its title, referring to the real-life biblical character who ruled over the Babylonian Empire from 605 BC to 562 BC.
You know, Kanye lived in China when he was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, for like a good bit. Yeah.
Wow. Kanye West's tweet gave a few more clues. The invitation artwork etched with a golden image of the Babylonian king states, music with Sunday service, Peter Collins, and Infinity Song. For what it's worth, the Hollywood Bowl confirmed the event to NPR.
Back in the People's Republic.
Unbelievable.
Listen,
man.
I don't know, man.
Listen.
Kanye West, he's something else.
Bro, I really couldn't believe, and not to say like him releasing that album just because of who he's been for so many years and having this like weird change of pace in his whole personality, his musical development. And it's not to say like, oh, like I just don't understand it, because like I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden in the news you heard like Kanye West is teaming up with George Fisher, also known as Corpse Grinder from Cannibal Corpse, and they're releasing a Miles Davis cover record. Like I wouldn't even be surprised if I heard that. Okay, so Cannibal Corpse and Kanye are teaming up to cover jazz.
Well,
okay.
dude, it's funny. I was watching. I think I may have said this before. I was watching like a interview with Dave Chappelle. He was on like Jimmy Kimmel or some shit. And they were talking about his musical performers that were on the Chappelle show. And he talks about the first time Kanye was ever on.
He was on there a couple times.
Yeah, Kanye.
Young artist at the time.
Like, at this point in time, he didn't know who Kanye was.
Dropout era.
Yeah.
Well, at this point in time, like Chappelle didn't know what he looked like.
Yeah.
He goes into the green room, and Kanye was talking about Kanye in the third person, and we're talking the early 2000s.
So it was like,
he's like, yeah, Kanye doesn't like this, or no, Kanye doesn't feel like this is the way to go. And then Dave Chappelle's like, well, who the fuck is Kanye? And he's like, I'm Kanye. Like you can hear that, like you can probably picture this by me just saying that.
Yeah, if Dave Chappelle's got something to say about your mental state, you probably got a fucking problem. I'm just gonna go on a limb and say that.
Yeah. But like I said, this is like the beginning of Chappelle's show. So it was like 2004.
We're just going to hear one day, it's like Kanye West, Dave Grohl, Chet Perkins, Dolly Parton in the new musical group.
Yeah, dude. Kanye West and Barbra Streisand have teamed up for a new gospel record this Christmas.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Faith plus one.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that Kanye hasn't tried to move into like movies.
Yeah, that's
You know?
actually a good point. Yeah,
That's
Well,
like
it's funny,
his next step.
I think it's
it might just not be his thing.
because some people
Yeah.
He
it's
likes
even
to
like
make music.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, but I'm surprised that he didn't even get into like scoring movies or anything yet. Like he's like goofy enough to do some shit like that or to take it on.
yeah.
Like
I think there's a
Mr.
lot more
Spielberg,
to it,
let me
man.
sit you down for a second. Kanye feels like Kanye could do a really good score for this movie. Wait, and then Steven Spielberg's like, wait, who's Kanye? I'm Kanye.
What do you like better, college dropout or late registration?
Dropout.
Late registrations. I like Dropout better.
Yeah.
Late registration was probably like the last of it, like where I
it's
those
really
two
only
albums
those two.
Yeah.
I mean, the one with like Graduation and shit on it, that's not bad.
Well, what
or
was
Graduation, that's
what
the
was
album.
It? Through the Wire.
Through the Wires.
That
on the first
song,
one.
I remember when I first heard that, and
it's
it
a
was
great
like the whole
song.
music video was just like mashups of like his car accident and everything. That was like when I first heard about him.
Yeah.
I was like, it was catchy, it was good, and then like, obviously, I actually bought
Jesus
the
Walks
album.
is on there.
Jesus
All
Walks.
Falls Down.
Dude, I remember the first
All
time I heard
Falls
Jesus
Down.
Walks.
That was the
man.
first I heard. Yeah.
I even remember when like Gold Digger came out with Jamie Foxx, dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, get down with this.
Dude, when
As
I
a
heard Jesus Walks-
15-year-old suburban white kid, I can get down with this shit. All right.
Dude, when I heard Jesus Walks, I felt that shit. God, show me the way, because the devil's trying to break me down.
It was good, man. Like that was, but that's the thing, dude. That time of hip hop, like it didn't even matter who the fuck you were. Like if you liked it, you liked it. It didn't become such like a cultural thing where it's like only people were listening to this, these people were listening to that. Like everybody I knew was liking that hip hop scene, and like Kanye came up with that, and then kind of evolved into something more. And then you had other artists that just fell off the face of the earth or started making poor records.
Yeah.
And then the auto-tune scene came in and really just fucked everything up.
Speaking of poor records,
Dude.
Ozzy Osbourne announced first solo album in 10 years, titled Ordinary Man. The Prince of Darkness, now 70, sang the vocal hook on Take What You Want from this past summer's Hollywood's Bleeding, which is a Post Malone album, thanks to his daughter. It all started when Kelly came in and said, "Do you want to work on a Post Malone song?" My first thing was, who the fuck is Post Malone? I went to Andrew Watt's house and said, "We'll work really quick." After we finished that song, he said, "Would you be interested in starting an album?" I said, "That would be fucking great." But now I'm thinking I don't want to be working in a basement studio for 6 months. And in just a short time, we had the album done. Ordinary Man will come out sometime 2020, featuring Guns N' Roses' Duff McKagan on bass, Red Hot Chili Peppers' Chad Smith on drums, and Andrew Watt, Post Malone's producer, on guitar. Osbourne's first solo album in a decade comes in the midst of a massive reissue campaign. A good reminder that the 1-2 punch of Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman featuring guitarist Randy Rhoads are worth revisiting.
Imagine going from Randy Rhoads to Zakk Wylde to Andrew Watt.
Dude,
I mean,
they released 2 songs.
Listen, did you hear Straight to Hell?
Yeah, did you hear
single?
Under the Graveyard is another one.
Yeah, did you hear Straight to Hell though?
Yeah, I heard all of them.
And
I didn't like it.
No.
I wasn't a fan.
Not a fan.
Yo, hold on.
It sounds like the shit the Foo Fighters just did, where they like hopped in the studio with like the Imagine Dragons people.
Dude, it's even in quotes.
That's just
like,
what they do
let's get it
now.
done.
It's just like you just go into a fucking studio with a hotshot young producer.
Like, dude, it's just. Let's put it this way. I think the Straight to Hell one, like the one vocal hook is "I'll make you defecate." Like that's one of the hooks.
Listen, dude.
It's like, "I will take you down. I will make you defecate." It's like, what?
Yo, you know what really sucks is because the whole thing happened with like Ozzy teaming up with Post Malone and Post Malone being in the spotlight with like all the younger generation. Then everybody's like, "Who the fuck is Ozzy Osbourne? Who's this guy?" And they don't realize like. I mean, that obviously you have to be that brand of parent to teach your kids about Black Sabbath and Ozzy and like that, how influential he was on so many things.
That's how.
But here's the problem, dude. He fucking
Ozzy
releases this new music. You have kids that are like trying to be like hipster to the point like, okay, everyone knows Post Malone. Here's a guy who did a song with Post Malone. Let me listen to his music.
Yeah.
And if that's their like introduction,
it wasn't
to
a good
Ozzy
one.
Osbourne is Straight to Hell.
I feel
You're gonna have
you
no
crumble
real.
in my arms down to your heart of stone. Like, dude, it's a cool hook. Don't get me wrong, but he's only in the song once.
Listen, man.
Take what you want from me. Take what you need from me. Take what you wanna go.
Go listen to. I mean, it's just I'm gonna listen to the record, obviously.
Yeah,
but
I'll
it's like
listen
some
to
of
it
these
too.
kids, like it's just a shame because if you try to pass on like Diary of a Madman or even Blizzard of Oz, I mean, even if you go back to the Sabbath era, like I mean, it's just hard for people to kind of go from that to appreciate the past.
Well,
and like you're using Post Malone as a vessel to like exploit.
well, this thing is kind of fucked up too. That Straight to Hell song.
Yeah.
You know who played the solo in that?
Who?
Fucking Slash. It's like you
Duff
got
McKagan's on this too. Isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
it's like you
Chad
got
Smith.
It's like you got 2 parts Guns N' Roses, 1 part
And-
Chili Peppers, and then
yeah.
Ozzy.
And Andrew Watt.
Yeah, and then it's like, you know, where the fuck is Zakk Wylde? I know the motherfucker ain't doing nothing. I'm on his fucking Instagram all the time. He ain't doing shit.
He probably wanted to get paid, and these motherfuckers are probably like, "We don't need to get paid."
This fucking Andrew Watt guy, though, he's gonna be a millionaire. You know, it's funny. I was talking to Nicole.
I could have produced this Ozzy album, no fucking problem.
I was talking to Nicole, and I like when they first announced this thing. I said, "Could you imagine being the guy that ruins Ozzy Osbourne's career with one album?" And then I heard these two songs, and I was like, "This is the guy that made the worst Ozzy album." I mean, please prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Be like,
but like Scream was better than the shit I've heard so far, and Black Rain stomps the fucking shit out of
I can
this.
think of a few bands out there that release some great work, but they'll always have like one album you'll remember as being like a total turd.
This is going to be that album.
This is going to be that, and it's a shame because I don't think it won't put.
It used to be Osmosis.
Yeah, it won't put a blemish on Ozzy's career to the point where it's like he's shit.
Is Osmosis better than this by far?
Yeah, 100%.
Actually, you gotta listen.
My recommendation of the week is
Osmosis. You like it?
No. I'm talking about this.
My recommendation of the week is off of Osmosis.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Really?
Huh.
As you loyal listeners may remember, back on Halloween when we were talking about shock rock, we told you that the recommendation was the Defiant Ones, which was a 3 or 4 part docu-series on HBO, and it basically chronicles the life and career of Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine to their unlikely pairing to build Interscope and Aftermath into the fucking megalodon in the music industry that it is now, all the way until their release of Beats and their massive sale to Apple for what, 3.2 billion or something. It was something
says
ridiculous.
On paper 3.2. In the movie they stated 3 billion, but
yeah,
3 billion either way. It's not
so
tomato.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He became the richest hip hop person after that.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre,
He became
I
the
think.
first
He like
billionaire.
passed Jay-Z.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope.
Boy, you crazy for this one. Jay was sitting in his house watching fucking CNN, saw that shit. He's slamming himself.
I gotta release the gold album now.
He's sitting there just like, ha, 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 boy, you crazy for this one.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so this docu-series was amazing because I had seen it when it first came out, and I suggested for you guys to watch it. There's a lot of cameos by like crazy influential people. Tom Petty, Stevie Nicks is in it. Eminem's in it. Trent Reznor's in it for a good portion when they're talking about the rise of
Will I
Interscope.
Am. Will I Am is in it.
Marilyn Manson.
Yep.
It's just wild.
Well, and Trent Reznor, not a lot of people know, but he was heavily involved in Beats as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patti Smith was in it too.
Patti Smith.
Yep.
Springsteen was in it too.
Yep.
You don't realize how many people that Interscope and Aftermath, like, or the people involved like within that circle, and even back when Dre was in NWA and Ruthless Records and that shit, like it goes back through everything, and it's just an incredible docu-series. And when I first heard about it, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, but it is Dr. Dre, so let me give it a shot. And then once it came on, I was hooked. I was pissed I had to wait for the other episodes.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as this goes, I'm not going to say it's the best documentary style film or docudrama, whatever, that we've seen thus far, but I am going to rank this at like a 90%. I think this was incredible. The amount of information that you learn from this is just insane. I didn't
realize that Jimmy Iovine was basically behind Death Row as well too.
Yeah.
Like he provided like key funding for Death Row.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh shit! And Eddie Van Halen makes a little bit of an appearance in the motherfucker too.
Yep.
Not in an interview, but you see him in a video.
He gave Tupac a deal at Interscope before.
Dude, yeah,
he's
got the letter
Yeah.
from Tupac.
Yeah.
He's got a thank you letter that he has framed,
Yeah.
like directly from Tupac.
It's just crazy to think this kid from New York that literally had nothing going for him, and his parents were trying to get him to work on the docks and shit, and he took it upon himself, and he worked himself literally from the fucking janitor to the owner of one of the biggest labels in the world.
Yeah.
And not even just the biggest label in the world, but one of the biggest labels in the world that house one of the greatest contributions to music ever.
It is cool too.
Dr.
Throughout
Dre.
the documentary, it kind of does run parallel. Like you get to seeing like the upcomings of Iovine as well as Dr. Dre, because a lot of people just think Dr. Dre, boom, they think like, Interscope, Aftermath, they think Eminem, they think 50 Cent. They just think like that little primary scene, and then if you
Bush.
dig more into it, then you start to think
Yeah.
of like NWA, Eazy-E, his relation with Death Row, what happened in that whole scene.
Jimmy
But then
Eat
it's
World.
like you don't realize like his whole fucking like. Dude, he even came out and said some of his own records were like corny as shit because he was just like in his room all the time mixing records, and he was slowly coming up. But he also grew up in that like almost disco like scene with his parents and the house parties and shit. And you get to see him as a real person. Like he never really wanted to rap on a record. I mean, he's got like the Chronic hanging up, and he's just like not even like impressed with his own work because he never wanted to be a rapper. And dude, the Chronic is one of the most iconic albums from that rap scene. But yeah, dude, it's cool how those like stories are like you get to see like how different they were, and like it is weird how shit just crossroads and like makes the perfect storm.
Yeah. So what are you going to give this movie percentage wise?
Just for value alone on just how interesting it was, I mean, I'm gonna give it because again, I don't think it's like the best thing, and I also think it's almost cheating because there's so many parts to it, so you got to see so much more than like an hour and a half documentary.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it an 80.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I think it was that good. Anything I say over a 50 is worth a watch, and then you can leave it up to you. If I go over 70, it's more than likely to say like you're gonna get some fucking
You learn a lot from
information
this.
out of this. Oh yeah, dude. There was a lot of dude. I was texting you the whole time I was watching. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, the first 5 minutes, Tyrese Gibson. I don't even remember that ever happening. That post on Facebook where he
I do
blew
remember
up
that
Ivy.
post.
Yeah, dude, it's just funny to think he almost ruined the deal. They were so scared. They told like Ivy told everybody not to say anything to anybody, and then Tyrese
Fucking
Gibson,
Tyrese, my
goes on a
boy.
first billionaire, and Dre's in the background. Apple's close deal with Apple, and Ivy's like freaking out, dude. But didn't do shit. But still, it's funny. Like it's just, I mean, that people don't think like that wasn't that long ago.
No.
You know.
What about you, Connor? What are you going to give this?
I'm gonna say 75.
75?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 stars.
What's that making? An 80? All right, so that gives us a good old
It's
82.
a good review.
Yeah, I mean, Rotten Tomatoes gave it 100. The audience score gave it a 92. Roger Ebert gave it a 3 out of 7. And IMDb gave it
3 out of 7. That's
Yeah.
a weird
or maybe
Roger D.
Maybe
Bird's
it's
a
ranking.
hipster, dude.
3 out of
7.
4.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 out of 4. And then IMDb gave it a 80 or 86, 8.6 out of 10. So we're kind of right on par.
Got a Grammy Award too, apparently.
Yeah, it had a Grammy Award for the best music film. Then again, it was in 2017. I don't think anything really came out in 2017 for it to compete against
Yeah, nah.
because the Megalodon Straight Outta Compton had already been released.
We need
That's
to do
true.
Ray.
I agree. I want
Ray
to
is
do Ray.
that shit. I'm trying to revisit.
Oh yeah, dude. And I would love to talk about that scene too, man.
Defiant Ones, to go off of that, it just shows you that, you can come from any kind of background or anything. And if you find the right person,
Yep.
it could be something that's spectacular. Like you take into consideration, Dre and Iveen. Then you take into consideration Dre and Eminem.
Yeah.
Like Eminem is following in his footsteps, becoming another like mogul, like in this whole thing, like Shady Aftermath. And
Yeah.
Shady Aftermath was basically the back
Problem
row
with
for
Eminem
G
is that he's
Unit.
fucked up as shit though half the time. So he's probably not gonna he hasn't
Who?
had
Yeah.
well, it was just 50 Cent and G Unit pretty much right in
Yeah.
the early
Yep.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, game too.
in the game. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there hasn't been shit.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing though. But I guess with Shady Aftermath, I guess Eminem has to get mostly all the revenue from any of the Eminem records. I mean, I'm pretty sure Dre gets a percentage.
Yeah, I
of
feel like it's
something.
pretty much just set up to the fact, or to the point where the Eminem just gets to make the money off his shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, then you start thinking about other people and, shit that technically really shouldn't work, but kind of does. Like Def Jam, a primarily like hip hop influenced record label.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that
Having
up too.
bands like Slayer.
Yeah, it's funny too with Def Jam getting with Slayer. You figure Slayer, for show number, but even Hell Awaits. Hell Awaits came out under Metal Blade.
Yeah.
Which to everybody, like you think Metal Blade Records, you think Nuclear Blast, you think of all those record companies. Like, yeah, you're gonna get a metal record. Then Def Jam hooks up with Slayer, and releases one of the most iconic Slayer albums to date.
Well,
being
probably
Rain and
one of
Blood.
the most coveted metal albums of all
Yeah,
time.
that's true. I mean, but you like it's funny because you think Slayer, like you're gonna think Rain and Blood. Like some people don't even realize, like just your avid fan, that there's albums before Rain and Blood.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, everyone thinks that that's just like the first one. That's the go-to, and it came out under fucking Def Jam to start.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
and a lot of it has to do with their producer, Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin. Well, Rick Rubin just
Wasn't Jay-Z on Def Jam?
yeah.
At first.
DMX was on Def Jam.
Redman, right?
Yeah. Dude,
Beastie
you should see
Boys?
how many. Yeah, Beastie Boys. You should see how many
LL
rap
Cool
artists
J?
went through fucking Def Jam in the early
Yo,
days, and still to this day,
LL
you
Cool
have
J
like.
and DMX were on Def Jam.
Were any
Right.
Wu-Tangers on Def Jam? Solo? Maybe Method Man?
May-
I don't know.
maybe, or Redman might have
No,
been.
I think Ghostface was.
Ghostface
Yeah.
definitely was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Ghostface.
Then who's Anthrax on? Anthrax is on Def Jam too, right?
I don't think currently.
Yeah, but they were at one
I think
point.
they were.
I think they
I'm
were
not
too.
100%, but
That's
I
how they
think
got the
were.
Public Enemy thing.
Yeah, because Public Enemy was on Def Jam. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, it just shows you like you have a primarily hip hop and rap influenced record label, and
Although,
like Steve
I don't
just
know.
said,
That doesn't necessarily mean that Anthrax were on Def Jam just because they did that song.
I'm pretty sure Rick Rubin was a producer on one of the Anthrax albums.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
dude, they were on Megaforce Island Records.
Yeah, but Island is Def Jam.
Yeah, they were on Island.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Still
they
on
were, yeah,
Island.
they were just in the family. Yeah.
Then they went to Elektra.
Also, like probably one of the. I mean, I guess it depends on whoever you talk to, but one of like another like unlikely pairing that wound up being like a fucking mega super hit was when Tim McGraw did that song with Nelly, that over and
yeah.
over again.
Yeah.
Like we grew up in the time period where that song had come out, and
That's
we remember
huge.
how fucking big that song was.
Oh yeah.
Huge.
And that, in my opinion, I believe that kind of started the whole transition to where country music is starting to be hip hop influenced.
Old Town Road.
Yeah, Old Town Road,
Proto
prime
Old
example.
Town Road. The shit is like how Helter to Skelter was to Master of Puppets. Fucking that Tim McGraw Nelly shit is the Old Town Road.
Yeah. I mean, like it's funny. Like everyone thinks of like that Florida Georgia Line song "Cruise."
You know Trent Reznor helped
Oh,
write
yeah.
that, right? Old Town Road.
Yeah, Trent
That's
Reznor's
based
got
off of
that.
a sample from a Nine Inch Nails album.
Is
Like,
it?
the bass
I
line?
told you
or
that when you
something,
looked it up. Trent Reznor got
No, I-
writing
He
credits.
got a country Grammy or whatever.
No,
Yeah.
I know that Trent Reznor was a producer and writer on the song. I didn't know that it used a sample from a Nine Inch Nails song though.
That's why he's a writer on it. I don't think he was a producer.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
that's still
Yeah,
cool
he got
as fuck
writing
though.
credits for it. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, everyone thinks about like that Florida Georgia Line song "Cruise" that has Nelly on it. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fucking huge crossover. Negative. Tim McGraw and fucking Nelly. They did that shit years ago, a decade ago, and that was huge. And that broke ground in genres, man. That was ridiculous.
But you go back to with like Beastie Boys, for instance.
Yeah.
What was it? No Sleep.
No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
Who did the solo on that?
Kerry King.
Kerry King. I mean, you think
I'm pretty
they
sure
were
Kerry
starting-
King did the solo on Fight for Your Right to Party too.
I think he did as well. And you can totally
Damn.
tell it's a
Yeah.
Kerry King.
But then
solo.
again, that's because they were all under the Def Jam
but
umbrella.
that's what I'm saying. That you got
Kerry
to that
King's in the
point-
music video too for No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
Yeah.
He
Oh, yeah.
he beats up the gorilla.
Oh yeah. I think it's cool though because again, that's where you kind of like get that crossover to have these artists kind of like do things together to kind of like spark that influence. Because I mean, like
Yeah.
we talked about like, again with the Anthrax and the Public Enemy mashup, and it's like different than what you would think with like Rage Against the Machine and just what Beastie Boys were doing. But then you get like these artists that work together in the same way these producers work together. Like you think about what Rick Rubin has done as a producer over his whole career.
Yeah.
Californication, Blood
Dude.
Sugar Sex Magic.
Yeah. I mean, he's put out some of the biggest fucking albums of all time, man.
The Johnny Cash revival
Yeah.
in the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to think some of these producers and like you hear a name and you know like a certain album or you
Audio
hear.
Slave.
Yeah. Think about it. You can go, the list goes on, dude.
Yeah, it's just wild. But that concludes our topic to
Oh, shit.
influential figures or unlikely pairings that wound up being something way bigger than what the other two had accomplished prior.
Yeah, like Kanye West and Barbra Streisand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still waiting on that.
Ozzy Osbourne and Post Malone.
Well, remember the other unlikely pairing that we talked about before with Axl Rose and Lars Ulrich? That fucking solo album they're going to put out.
Or the band that should not be named in Lou Reed.
Yeah.
Velvet Underground.
No.
Oh, Lulu.
Lulu.
Yeah, Lulu. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a double side to this coin.
I say for season 2.
Lulu was the
anytime we
greatest album of the
mention-
decade.
I say for season 2, it's right next to Ding Dong Ding Dong as like one of the best songs there. I think for season 2, anytime we bring them up, we say the band that should not be named. We're going to go this whole season without saying that band name at all.
All right, so let's get into
Suggestion of the week.
our group suggestion for this week is the docudrama directed by Alex Cox, Soaked in Bleach.
It's a great film.
I have yet to see it. And
Soaked in Bleach.
pretty much by what you're telling me is it makes Kurt and Courtney look like a fucking made-for-TV after-school special horseshit movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually excited to see this.
It's like the Ding Dong Ding Dong of documentaries.
What, Kurt and Courtney or this?
Soaked in Bleach.
That's not true.
You enjoy? Oh, we'll talk about this next episode.
All right, so for our personal suggestions of the week, do you want to start us off, Connor?
Yeah, I got Mastikilla's second album, Made in Brooklyn.
Nice.
I'm gonna recommend the track Street Corner. It features Jizza and Inspector Deck, so it's a bit of the a real good dose of the Wu-Tang flavor for anyone who's craving a little bit of a Wu-Tang feel, but something they probably never heard before.
Nice. What about you, Steve?
I'm going to recommend the 1977 album by Muddy Waters called Hard Again. I'll make it simple and recommend the most well-known track of probably almost the entire blues scene of this time, which is Manish Boy, featuring Johnny Winters on guitar. Great album. Solid effort.
Nice. My suggestion for this week is the song Perry Mason from the 1995 studio album from Ozzy Osbourne called Osmosis.
Oh.
This album, however, you may remember seeing this in Best Buy in the Oblivion bin.
Next to Chinese
What
Democracy.
album is it? I'm sorry.
Osmosis. Reason being, I think the only single off that album is Perry Mason, but it's one of those songs to where even if you never heard it before, you'll listen to it and like instantly get the fucking melody, you'll instantly get the hook, and it'll instantly become one of your favorite Ozzy songs. The reason this album had done so poorly is because this was the last album to feature Zakk Wylde on tour until Black Rain in 2008.
When we saw him, didn't you
Black
say he
Rain.
played some shit from Osmosis? Didn't he play like they played?
He
like
played
one
the
song?
solo from Perry Mason during
Okay.
Zakk Wylde's 25-minute guitar solo.
That was epic.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was crazy. But yeah, Perry Mason's a fucking kick-ass song. Like it is really good. Like when you hear it, you'll be like, okay, yeah, I understand this now. But it was in such like a fucked up situation. Like the band at the time for Ozzy was Robert Trujillo from the band that should not be named, the drummer from Faith No More, and Zakk Wylde was on the album. They changed out Zakk Wylde for Joe Holmes, and he played the tour and all the Ozzy shit.
That was a good
after that.
move.
Shit. You can't find a decent live version of Perry Mason because you can't find one with Zakk Wylde because they retired the song. And the Joe Holmes one, it's like, okay, like he's not a bad guitar player, but I wouldn't even put him in the ranking of the best Ozzy guitar players, even compared to fucking Andrew Watt or whatever that douchebag's name is.
You think he's better?
Who, Joe Holmes?
Andrew Watt?
Yeah, let me rephrase that. Joe Holmes is a better guitar player than Andrew Watt. But both of them aren't on the fucking level of the Ozzy guitar players.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. On
It's
the,
almost like in Hired
Wild.
Gun when fucking
who was
Alice
the guy-
Cooper.
Who was the guy that took over
For-
right after Randy Rhoads died?
That was
fuck.
he was a guitar player from Night Ranger,
Jakey
Brad
Lee?
Gillis.
Oh, fuck.
No, hold on. What happened was Randy recorded the first two Ozzy albums. Randy died in the Diary of a Madman tour. They had Brad Gillis from Night Ranger
That's who it was?
play the remainder of the tour.
Yeah.
He had 2 days to learn those 2 albums worth of
I
material,
know.
and he finished the tour, and it was like ridiculous good. And then from there, Brad Gillis went back to Night Ranger because, of course, Sister Christian became a fucking huge hit, fucking worldwide phenomenon. And then that's when they got Jakey Lee. Then Jake E. Lee stayed for those 2 albums, Bark at the Moon and Ultimate Sin. Then he left, and
I fuck with Jakey Lee.
dude, Jake E. Lee Ozzy is really good.
Bark of the Moon is shit, dude.
Bark of the Moon's fucking insane.
He doesn't get enough credit.
Well, you have another spotlight track from Ozzy would be Killer of Giants off of the Ultimate Sin album, dude. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
The guitar works awesome. But then, of course, then Zach Wilde comes in, and then Zach Wilde runs his course, and they get Joe Holmes, and then Joe Holmes runs his fucking little bullshit course, and then they get fucking Zach back, and then Zach leaves or gets kicked out because Ozzy's music started to sound too much like Black Label Society, and then Gus G. But yeah, so my recommendation is Perry Mason from Ozzy's Osmosis album. And
that was the longest
That's about it.
justification for a recommendation I've ever heard.
dude, that's
It's been a while.
that's-
You're really amped to recommend this album.
that I'm amped to recommend this song because once you hear it, you'll be like, okay, I understand this totally because it's a fucking killer song.
All right. I'm gonna go back because I mean I've listened to the album. I'm not a huge fan of like later Ozzy, but I'm gonna listen to it.
And honestly,
go
like I
re-listen.
think Perry Mason has one of the best Zach Wilde solos
Yeah,
like ever that he's ever recorded.
yeah. All right.
But yeah, that about wraps up for this. Once again,
week.
we'd like to thank you for tuning back into season 2. Once again, we're going to continue to do this as long as you guys listen. You can reach us on our social medias, Facebook.com/RATM podcast, Twitter and Instagram at RATM podcast. And as always, our email is open at ratmpodcast@gmail.com. This is Rage Against the Mainstream signing off for the evening. I'm Bill.
I'm Connor.
Steve.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you for listening.